Welcome to FinTalks, a chat with Finance Malta Members Edition. With me today I have Mr. Linn Tonna, Business Development Manager for the Western Union Business Solution, who is a member of the Finance Malta. Thank you, Mr. Tonna, for accepting this invitation. During this podcast, we will try to answer the following question. Why is foreign exchange risk management crucial for business? My first question, first of all, is, in brief, can you tell me exactly what your company, Western Union Business Solution, does?
So Western Union Business Solution is part of the Western Union family. In Malta, basically, we have both services. Western Union, we have the cash money transfers, and then we have Western Union Business Solutions, whereby we offer business payments for corporates, payments for any type of industries. So any company that has an FX exposure can be a client of ours. We do also do risk management, FX, we do hedging, so all of these services are available at Western Union Business Solution Malta.
Now going back to our question, and we try to answer these questions in the coming minutes, why is FX risk management important? In the sense, how can currency risk fluctuation affects companies?
Risk management is very important to any organization that's doing business internationally. The values of major currencies do fluctuate from one currency to another, creating income uncertainty for the business. Many businesses like to eliminate that risk, so they would eliminate that uncertainty for the business by booking, for example, future exchange rates. With respect to fluctuations, currencies can be fluctuated for different reasons. Basically, there are the issues of having issues of political issues, for example, there are the economical situations, and obviously speculation, which are all factors that can affect the risk of currency fluctuations. A good FX service provider and a dedicated account manager will be able to give that business the right tools, the right insights, the right data, economic data and calendars, obviously not to be impacted with these kind of FX losses.
Okay, and what kind of companies, industries are affected the most in what you just said?
With respect to companies or industries, 90% of these are mostly SMEs. However, any company relevant of its size and business that has an FX exposure can be impacted in a sense that basically if there is no strategy in place, therefore these companies can be heavily impacted with FX losses.
So what you're saying is you need to plan beforehand, right?
Definitely. A company would require a plan, so it is suggested that basically they would speak to us, for example, or to any FX provider, so we'll give them a strategy and a plan in place in order for them not to be a victim of FX volatility.
Okay. And how can companies protect themselves against FX fluctuation and mitigating the risks?
So there are different methods. Number one would be holding balances. So a holding balance basically is an account which can receive multiple currencies. Basically a customer would, for example, receive dollars from his clients, being an exporter, for example. The customer is able to receive the funds in that specific currency. Now, the use of holding balances is basically they can hold the same currency against a future payment. So the customer is not obliged to convert the funds immediately. So if he has a payment in the future, the customer will able to hold, for example, dollars, sterling, any type of currency, even exotics, for example, and then make a payment for the future.
And in locally, how popular is this type of method?
This is very popular among a lot of industries. I would say within the financial sector itself, you have the gaming, you have the manufacturing, which is a very, very big industry. So it is a very important tool that basically businesses utilize within our services, within our capabilities.
So basically it's on the increase.
Definitely.
Okay. And what are the main issues and challenges you have noticed in your experience in Maltese companies with regards to payments and banking solutions?
With respect to challenges that we heard about, obviously the dollar payments. We all know that Malta had struggled in the dollar corridor. We had received multiple requests from a lot of companies coming from different industries, which obviously they had a dollar need. So definitely we were in contact with these people and we helped them accordingly, obviously if the opportunity was within our risk appetite.
But Mr. Tonna, am I correct in saying that sometimes banks make the situation a bit more difficult because they tend to be a bit more rigid than...
Indeed. I mean, banks are very stringent, and so are we, right? But obviously, efficiency is key at the moment. So basically, us, Western Union Business Solution, being obviously a payment company which solely focuses on payment services, we were always in a better position opening accounts for our customers. We heard it quite a lot. It is no secret that basically companies, they would request to open an account per currency, and would take them, for example, up to 6 to 7 months.
Yes.
So this is why I'm saying that when you have an FX provider which is solely dedicated to obviously make, solely focused on payment services, it's much better in a position to obviously help you give you the account as soon as possible, much earlier.
Okay. So have you noticed any trends emerging within the financial industry post-COVID? I wish to say more post-COVID, and hopefully it's over. Or maybe have you noticed, or are you expecting new trends as a result of this pandemic?
During COVID and post-COVID, we saw new trends emerging. Number one, I would say the reduction of checks. So we were one of the few companies in Malta that we had accepted check payments. So for example, a customer would lock in a rate which is pre-booked for him, and basically the settlement of the customer would be via check. That service is kind of on the way out, so it was reduced. Nowadays, customers are sending payments to us via bank transfer, via wire, so it is much more efficient. Receiving funds much earlier, so therefore we can deliver better in a timely manner, exactly, which is better.
Do you envisage more changes in the coming months and years?
We do. I believe everyone knows that another trend which had picked up and excelled is obviously the online meetings. So less face-to-face communication, unfortunately,
It's
because
being
personally
called Zoom
myself,
fatigue now.
Exactly. Unfortunately myself, because within my role and my remit, basically it's a pleasure of meeting business people face to face, and so individually. So having meetings online, I believe everyone can vouch for it. It is something that basically increased during COVID and post-COVID, and I believe it will continue to strengthen. So that is another trend which I saw is always rising.
Is this a positive thing that you're seeing or a negative thing? I mean, one can say that the world is becoming even more smaller as a result of this.
I think it's both, to be honest. Personally, myself, I would feel much better meeting the customer in an office, maybe taking them for lunch, for example.
Human contact.
It's a different. Human contact is different. But on the other hand, online meetings are much easier. So if you get a meeting, for example, you would get probably a more positive answer on an online meeting rather than taking someone on a meeting or someone for lunch because they might be busy, for example. But anyway, I would prefer option one.
Okay. Mr. Tonna, thank you so much
Thank
for
you very
joining
much
us during this podcast. We encourage you all to follow these FinTalk chats on the Finance Malta website, which is financemalta.org/podcast, and also on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.